Welcome to Smithills Hall, everybody. We brought you on a daytime guided tour to show you some history of this place because we've done quite a few paranormal overnights and we've got another paranormal overnight here this weekend. So we want to show you the daytime, what this place looks like and give you some history about it. This was the original hall, this bit here. It goes back to 1200s. That was the original roof where the hall actually stopped, this beam here. And then later on in the 1500s they added on another floor and took it up. So this is the original hall from 12th century. This used to be for monks, an order of monks lived here, and they have actually seen a monk ghost passing through the Lady Ainsworth's lounge, which we'll show you on the inside footage. So this is basically the oldest bit of the hall, and this courtyard would have been used for horses and carriages, so that family coming up could offload here and get out of the carriages, and then the horses will be taken to stable. So this is the eldest bit of the hall. We're going to take you around the front to the Tudor section. So some people might already have seen some of our Smithills Paranormal, and when we did the contacting the pirate captain, we did that right here in this square.
Yeah.
Against this door. That was the laundry. When the Victorian family of Ainsworth moved in, and they added some modern, extras like a laundry, a wash house. Back in those days it would have been all hand wash stuff, but all these things we can show you when we do the indoor walkabout. So we'll do the outdoor walkabout on this section, and then we're in here tonight locked down for the paranormal, and then we'll do the walkabout during the day and show you what the place looks like during the daytime. It's got really big gardens, and there's also been a priest seen. Right, we'll go over and film the woods a little bit, show people the woods. Got Courtney House over there. Just film the Courtney House. If you zoom in, make sure you zoom it back out again. So the Courtney House was where the stables used to be, attached to this hall, and there's a bridge which goes from Smithills Hall across to Smithills Coaching House, which is where they stable their horses. And Andy and I did the paranormal on this bridge. I think we have it down as Spooky Rituals on Smithills Bridge, and this is where we conducted our paranormal that night, where we do always get like orbs and things like that coming up out here, because the bridge has a story that a lady belonging to this hall and a servant boy who worked in these stables fell in love with each other, and because obviously class distinction, she come from a wealthy family, he's just an ordinary worker. They used to meet on the bridge, and the family found out and separated them, and one of them, and I don't know which one, jumped over into the ravine, which I think you can just probably see the waterfall going down there. So that bridge is actually haunted, and always people seem to pick two orbs of light up, even if people are not doing paranormal at night time, if they're just walking with torches and dogs and things, they've even seen these two orbs. So the two orbs, they think, are related to this particular tragic love story. The Coaching House used to be a restaurant, and they used to have printed on the menus this same story of the couple that used to meet on the bridge. So when me and Andy did the paranormal on the bridge, we did the ritual, the scrying in the mirror with the pentacle and the candles. We did pick up a couple of flashy orbs, so we are thinking that maybe it's the same two spirits. This is the woodland at the back here, so if anybody's watched our Smithills Forest Part 1 Spooky Woods and Smithills Part 2 Spooky Woods, we've conducted both of the investigations in this forest. The derelict cottage is further back behind the Coaching House, so we're just trying to give you a layout of where we've been at night time, because obviously in the forest at night it's difficult to get the light and show you where we are, but we can come up in the day and we can show you like where we've been, so people who've watched our Smithills series, they can see now where we were. So I'll take you to the church and the George Marsh room. Now George Marsh was a Church of England priest back in the days of Henry VIII. And when Henry VIII died, they wanted to take the country back to Catholic again, and George Marsh was one of the priests that refused to turn Catholic from Church of England, and they held him here in those rooms there, the one upstairs. They kept him there, and they gave him a court case right there, and they told him, you will turn to Catholic or you'll be put to death. So the court case went on for about 3 weeks, and he wouldn't turn Catholic. So they put him to death. So he actually got his sentence in that very room, and he apparently stamped his foot really hard on the floor and cursed his oaths and everything. And The room is still set up to this day, and he is seen, a black hooded figure around the place here and there. The people that work here in the week have seen him. He tends to turn up on paranormals, and like Andy and I tonight are going to be in there all night, so we're going to hopefully be able to reach out and see if we can get him come through. That's the George Marsh room. It's commonly known as the George Marsh room. He did get put to death. He was taken to Lancaster Castle for a couple of months, and then they transferred him all the way down to Chester, and they burnt him at the stake in public there. And he became what is known as a martyr, which people that died for their faith, and they've been named in a book, and they have like their names up on the wall and sketch portraits of them, so people remember who they are and don't forget them. So that's the George Marsh wing. Upstairs and downstairs is the section that's related to him and his trial, which was sometime, it was in the late 1500s actually, so it was around the time when Henry VIII had England as a Catholic country, when he was married to his first queen. When he divorced his first queen and married Anne Boleyn, that's when he converted it to Church of England. So those people that wouldn't become Catholics were put to death, basically. And then when it became Church of England, those people who wouldn't become the Church of England got put to death. So you really couldn't win. You know, it was like you do what the king does, or you do what the queen does, or you get put to death. This is a modern day church. This is used today for services. There is a priest seen in this church and around this church. He has like a long black frock coat, and he wears the big round hat, which is the style of like the 1800s the priests, clergymen would have worn. He's been seen coming down the side of this church, down the steps and going off in that direction. Several people have seen him on several different occasions. They still use it today. They have services every Sunday, and they have weddings and baptisms and all that kind of stuff. They do everything here still. This is the front doors to it. So before this was built, there would have been an older chapel here which belonged to the monks from the 12th century when they had this building. And back then, we've come to the back of the hall now. That was the original building, was right over there. We'll come to it in a second. This was built by the Ainsworth family who bought this place in the 1800s. They had a lot of extensions put on. They built their own church. They had a lot of money. They owned a bleach works called Belmont Bleach Works, which is still there to this day, and that's how they made the money. They dyed cloths, fabrics, different colours, so the ladies could have dresses in all different colours, and the men could have like tailored suits in all different colours. The fashion of the day, the 1800s, the frock coats and all that, they could have them done all different colours, fabrics, prints, and that's how this family made their money. So this is the other side of the George Marsh room now. If you look at the beams, that's original Elizabeth I. This was built in between 1500 and 1600. These beams are original. Those white markings are original. That's original Tudor. Anywhere you go in Britain, when you see that wood and you see those white markings and this lattice style window, that is original Tudor. The mock Tudor is this one over here, where it's hand painted on. Victorian building, 1800s. But they've hand painted on the black and the white, so they've mocked the Tudor style. So wherever you go in the UK, whether it's Chester or York or any of these old places, if you want to look at the Tudor buildings, the original is always the wood with the white painted on, and the mock is always the black and white hand painted. So it gives you an idea of roughly what building, the age of the building you're looking at, and also the medieval buildings, the 1500s ones, are leaning a bit like this one here. You can see it's crooked. If you go to Shambles in York, all the buildings are crooked there because they're the same original from the same era. So there are still lots of places you can go to in the UK. York especially is one of them, where you can still see these really old and leaning buildings, and it's hard to believe, but back in the 1600s, 1500s, London would have looked like this throughout. It was all timber buildings. They would have all been crooked and leaning had they survived. But because we had the Great Fire in 1666, it wiped out pretty much all of London, and they rebuilt it in the stone. And then after that, obviously, the glass buildings have gone up nowadays. So when you go to London, you've got three different styles of building, you've got three different eras, you've got some Tudor buildings which have survived. Because they weren't made of wood, the fire spread rapidly and it completely burnt everything down. The timbers all caught fire, so that's why a lot of buildings, nothing really survived. So when they built St Paul's Cathedral and turned everything to stone, that London is from sort of 1700 onwards. And then today you've got your glass buildings, but all of London would have looked like this. All of London would have looked like the shambles in New York back in the day before the fire. And it's hard to believe when you see it now, you know, the modern buildings. And this is original too. This is also 1500s. You can see by the window panes, the lattice, you know, the wood going across. These are original timbers, original beams. This downstairs room is the bower room, and upstairs is the bedroom. This room is all haunted because it's very, very old, and we're going to be in there tonight, so we'll be able to film it properly for you, and we're going to do an indoor walkabout, so we'll be able to show you properly the rooms. There is a ghost of two ladies in the bedroom upstairs. It was called the solar room because back in the time, ladies would go upstairs and work in a room that had windows front and back, so they could have the light, then they could do their needlework, or they could look after the children or whatever it was they were doing, because there wasn't a lot of light. You know, we had candles and sconces with torchlights coming out. There wasn't any lighting much, so the downstairs rooms tended to be really dark because the ceilings were very low. So a lot of people, even if they were doing paperwork and stuff like that, would go upstairs and they'd have like a big ledger with the quill feather pen, and they would write by the light of a candle. So you see in the movies that are set in that time, people writing with the feather pen. That was the pen that people used. They literally used to take a feather out of a goose or a duck. To be honest with you, the more money you spent, the better a feather quality you got. So if you wanted a really good one, you'd get a swan feather. Royalty would have those. If you were just an ordinary working day person, you'd get like a pigeon feather, and then you just dip it in the ink and then you'd write. But they did actually make nibs to go on the ends of those quill pens. There must be a quill pen museum in England somewhere, because there's a museum for everything, isn't there? This is the Great Hall on the inside, which again we'll show you when we go on the inside. This is an original door and window. Those are original too. I think these go back actually to about 1300s. The actual door is about that old. And this small door, that was where the servants used to go in and out. They used to open the big doors to let the family in and out, or the important people in and out. But the servants who came to work here, that was the servants' door. They opened that hatch and they climbed through to go into the hall so they could do their work, prepare the kitchen, the food, you know, get everything ready for banquet, that kind of thing, light the candles. But the important people, they would unlock it and let them people in. But that's the servants' entrance, and the window you can see is original. So 1300s, 1200s, 1300s, something like that. So these, anywhere you go in England, pubs, anything, if you see this kind of woodwork and this kind of lattice going on, it will be original. Like I said, the mock Tudor is here on this side, so we're going to come to the mock Tudor now, because this wing, that's the original Smithills Hall. This bit here that Andy's filming right now, that was the original hall. That's all it was. 1200s to 1500, that were it. Then this bit got added in, 1500 to 1600, all this got added on here, this Tudor bit that we've just shown you, the leaning bit. 1800 when the Ainsworths took it over, they added the church on, and they added this wing. So downstairs we've got 2 bedrooms, and we've got a library and a lounge, which we're going to go in tonight, and we'll also film on the walkthrough. Upstairs is derelict at the minute, and it used to be servants' quarters. There's about 10 bedrooms, single bedrooms, and they used to be servants' quarters, and they've tried to renovate that floor, and they've tried now for about 25 years. Every single time they try to renovate the floor, they get all this really severe poltergeist activity kicking off. They have like doors slamming and feet running, and literally builders, electricians, plumbers, they've just legged it and they've refused to come back. And I spoke to one guy recently called Andy, who used to work as an electrician here, and he said, we put all our tools in one place, went off for lunch break, and when we come back the tools have been chucked and scattered everywhere. He said, so he was a little bit shook up. He said, I wasn't very, and we can't get him for interview unfortunately, he said I was very sceptical. But when the door started slamming on the road, he said that was me out of there, and he left. So that was one person of many that left because of the activity that goes on. Every time they try to renovate that floor, paranormal activity kicks off, and they've not been able to complete it, and they can't let people up there during the daytime. But because we're in tonight on an overnight paranormal, we're going to go up there and we're going to see if we can find out. We've got roughly an idea what this paranormal being is, because a few psychic people have been up there, and they think it's the man who used to be in charge of the servants, who's literally stamping his feet and banging on the doors and cracking the whip and get up, come on, you're late for work and all that, and they're all rushing about trying to get to work on time, and the doors are slamming, and this is the kind of paranormal activity you get up there. One maid called Rose Fletcher did fall to her death. There is a staircase with the grandfather clock on it, but we'll film all this stuff and we'll put it on the next episode you'll see will be the daytime shoots. She fell from the top to the bottom and was found dead at the foot of the stairs, and it's never been accomplished. Was she pushed or did she just trip because she was running and she just fell? It was never proven one way or the other what happened with her. She's been known to bustle about the place. She's been felt brushing past people and rushing really quickly to do her jobs and stuff. And also there's some servants' bells, I think 5 or 6 in a row. They've disconnected the servants' bells now. Now the servants' bells, if you were in a room, you've probably seen in programmes like Downton Abbey and that where if they're in the bedroom, the bedchamber, they'll pull her up, the servant bell rings and they say, all right, it's the lounge or it's the bedroom. So the maids will go, oh, you want some tea and coffee? Okay, we'll bring it. The servants' bells have been disconnected and the servants' bells were still ringing even though there was no cord to pull, so they eventually took the bells out because people were getting really freaked out by it. How is this happening? So the servants' bells have been taken out now, but this is the outdoor walk round. We're going to do the indoor walk round, which will be on after this, and then we're going to follow up with the overnight paranormal. So these 3 episodes are going to come one after the other. So this is the first, the indoor walk round, and we'll show you the servants' bells and all of the things we've talked to you about today. And then the paranormal we'll do, separately on the 3rd. So there's 3 different parts to this Smithills Hall. But because it's practically on our doorstep, we're up here like all the time. It's where we first took our steps in the paranormal world, because I think we've talked to you before about me and Andy past how we met. We met in drink rehab, alcohol rehab, because we gave up drinking. So we needed to find something else to do that didn't involve alcohol. So we decided to start going on these haunted evenings and things like that. So we swapped one for spirit for another. That's the only kind of spirit we have now, the ghostly type. And we got really into it. And then we've been doing for 15 years now this paranormal in the evenings, and it's only been the last 12 months that we've decided to let's film it and put it on YouTube and see what happens, because so many people are doing that now. So and that's how we've come to do, but we've come back here because this was the birthplace for us for paranormal. And it's a special place, and I've been coming here since I was 4 years old because my parents used to bring us up here with the dog, and it's just been part of our lives for all our lives. So that's why we want to make a special sort of feature of this. We're going to be doing 1-hour programmes that are going to be edited, and this is going to be the first one that's special because of the nature of what it is. So we'll walk back round now to the front, and then we're going to do the interior section, and then we're going to do the paranormal overnight tonight. But like I say, we're going to see if we can get off up to the derelict part on our own and see if we can get some of that activity that's going on. There has been several sightings. People have witnessed different things up here. Some things have got in the local paper, including the coaching house across there, which is now private. It was the stables belonging to this hall originally, and then it was a restaurant, and now it's private flats. Like most things turned into private accommodation. We'll just walk up to the Celtic Cross. So this Celtic Cross, you might have seen it on 1 or 2 of our episodes where we've been doing darker rituals. We've done a couple of, I'd say, witchcraft rituals in inviting spirits to come forward and speak. I don't call it black magic because to me that is not a black magic craft. A black magic craft is when a person reverses everything and tries to summon up the devil and satanic, forces. We were doing a witchcraft ritual to invite any spirits through that wish to talk, any spirits attached to this hall. You can just show the rest of it under there now whilst we've moved on from where it's fenced up. So this used to be an old people's home, by the way, guys, at one point. And it was also used by Bolton Council to house disabled and mentally ill people as well. But for the same reason, they moved out because they were having hassle, with paranormal and ghosts and stuff like that. That black and white bit up there used to be the one on the left-hand side with the rounded window was actually the morgue area where they used to lay out the people once they passed away, because it was an old people's care home at one point for a little while. And then we'll go up this way because we don't want to get people in.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going this way, so we'll go up to the cross.
Alright.
Yeah, keep us film over there, the woodland anyway, show people that. All of this is the Smithills estate. It was a lot bigger than this. It's this estate that goes all the way up to Winter Hill Mast and beyond to Belmont. We'll go up to the Celtic Cross because this has got some history. This Celtic Cross. It used to be in the centre of Bolton. It used to be in an area called Churchgate, which was the beheading spot, the guillotine spot in Bolton in the 1600s. And an Earl of Derby got guillotined right there. So that particular area of Bolton is haunted. Unfortunately, it's surrounded by a load of dodgy pubs, so it's very difficult to do a paranormal down there. This is the Celtic Cross. So this was the centre of the marketplace in Bolton at one time. And this is where we did our spooky ritual. Tried to conjure up spirit people. And whilst we're on, let's go and have a look at this wood pile in here. I'm going to plug the critter series. Come on guys, you know it. You want a bit of the critter. Now look at this here. Now does that not look Bigfoot to you? Is that not like a Bigfoot den? Come on now. Now I'm getting all kinds of hassle for filming this critter series, right? Some people like the critter series. Some people don't. Some people are like, what the hell? I said, look, we're following up people's sightings in the area of this critter, 7, 8 foot, whatever is dogman type, whatever it is thing. So look at that now. Alright, people have put that there. But that will be the kind of structure that you find from something like a mythical beast or a wild animal, or in America the Bigfoot. So people are getting very mixed views on the critter stuff. Me and Andy have done 2 critters now because 2 different sightings have been reported, so we've gone and checked it out because you do what you have to do. Now I love doing the critter stuff, but nobody is watching it, so like and subscribe and please watch the critter stuff, because if we can get some views on the critter stuff we will go out and do more, but if we don't get any views on the critter stuff we're going to have to axe it, and then I won't be happy. So let's go back this way. Well, this is the top end of the Ainsworth part of Smithills Hall. This is the newest sort of refurbished bit, if you like, because they had all this built in 1800. They had their own cloth dyeing works in Belmont, which is still there. It's now called Belmont Bleach Works. It's still the same place. So they made all their money from dyeing cloths and materials, which they could have clothing made and hats even, trimmed with different colours and stuff. That's how they made their money. So they were able to build this hall. Colonel Ainsworth and his wife, Lady Ainsworth, who hated each other. They had separate bedrooms, separate entrances in and out. One went in through the front door, one went in through the back door, and the 2 never met unless they had like people around for dinner, social engagements. Then they had to be together, but they couldn't stand each other. So we can sometimes generate a bit of paranormal activity in there, like if the men go in Lady Ainsworth's room and the women go in Colonel Ainsworth's room, that can generate a bit of a reaction sometimes. So we're hoping we'll have put the paranormal on by the time you've watched this, so you'll be able to see if we've managed to achieve that or not. But we did that one time. We did split up and do the men in the women's room and stirred it up a little bit that way. But like, it's tonight that we're going in, but it'll be on YouTube tomorrow, so you'll know what we did. We don't know what we've done yet because it's tonight we're going in. So, and we go back to the front of the hall, and then that's the whole of it really by daytime. So we wanted to show you guys what it looks like during the day, because we're always up here at night time, and we have put several episodes now of Smithills on, and it's just nice to show people the daytime what it looks like. We'll get to the front door so there's nobody loitering. We'll show you that. We just pointed over there for the time being. Don't film these people. We'll go up to the front door. Oh no, we can't go up to the front door because sometimes there's groups coming in and out. Alright, so the front door is just over there. How long have we filmed now?
25 minutes.
Probably. Well, let's walk back and then we'll do, because we can go past the orchard and we can finish it up there. Unless you want to go down over the bridge and back that way, because then we can show people the bridge.
Yeah, we can go down over the bridge and...
Yeah, so you can come in this hall during the day.
Yeah.
They have got a tea rooms and you can pay the entry fee and go have a look round if you wish. There's a lot of people up here today, so we're going to pick a quieter day to do the daytime walk. You can hear by the pots and pans that there's a cafe over there. Yeah, so we're going to go there. Get these people in the shop.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Just the coaching house over there.
Yeah.
In fact, you can go down to the bridge this way.
We'll go down that way.
Over there is the coaching house, that's where they used to stable the horses. We'll go down to the bridge that's haunted by the couple. So as you go along that path and off in that direction, it goes down into the woods where we've done the Spooky Woods episodes. This is the bridge. This is the area where one of them threw themselves down there into the ravine. I don't know whether it was the girl or the boy that dropped, but one of them did. And then the other one was left alone and heartbroken. And so the two odds are seen. Oh look, someone's put a heart there. That's interesting. Look. Somebody's left a heart, Luke. That's nice because obviously somebody else knows, other people know this story. Somebody's left a heart on the bridge. So this is the area where they were mentioning one of them, or maybe they both jumped off, but the conclusion isn't not really clear to be honest. But they jumped from here, one of them jumped from here, possibly they both jumped from here. That's why somebody's left that heart, because it is a popular local folklore story, you know, and it's a tragic one, it's a sad one, but it's like quaint and romantic in a way because it happened about 250 years ago and people are still coming like to leave gifts, you know, for the couple. This is where we did our spooky ritual on this bridge. We lit the pentacle with candles and we put a mirror in the centre to do some scrying because what the scrying is, it can hurt your eyes, the scrying, to be honest. There's different ways to do scrying. How they used to do it, they get a bowl of water and they pour black ink into it and they'd stare into it and ask questions in their head and you're supposed to see the vision of your answer. But nowadays people mostly use mirrors, but it can still hurt your eyes a little bit. I find the scrying. I can only do it for about 10 minutes and then that's it. You know. This would have been the bridge across from the hall to the coach, you know, so if people were taking a coach to Manchester or whatever, because back in them days people took horses and carts everywhere, they'd bring the horses across and the coach across and the family would get in from the hall there and then they would go to wherever they're going and they'd come back and they'd drop the family off at the door to the hall and then they'd bring the horses and the coach back over here again to the coach and stables. And they used to have the old coaches on display here, but now since it turned into private apartments, those coaches are now on display in Bolton Museum in the town centre, so the coaches are still there, but they had to move them from here. And we're right at the foot of Critter Country. Critter Country, guys. I'm trying to plug the critter thing, because so many people, you won't believe how many YouTubers and really good YouTubers that have got like 350,000 subscribers are out looking for the critter on Windsor Hill. Not every week, obviously, but now and then. If somebody picks up a sighting or a story, then we'll come out and do it. They go out and do it. So it's at the minute it's a little bit of a what's going on, is it or isn't it? You know. And if we get any more people saying there's been a critter sighting, we're going to go up again and follow it through. So whether you believe in it or you don't, just watch it anyway because it is a laugh. So with that, just point that bit there, the hall. That's such a good view. That we'll end it there, and then we'll see you on the paranormal shoot. I think it's such a good view with the trees and everything.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll leave it there now.